Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. It is so great to have you with us today.
Oh, and before we really get going, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, drop a comment, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss out.
Yes, definitely do that. We have a lot of ground to cover today.
We really do. So, imagine trying to build a house, right? But instead of laying down a foundation, you just start throwing bricks at a wall.
Which is, a terrible construction strategy.
Right. But honestly, that is what most of us do when we try to learn a language just by cramming vocabulary. So today we are digging into a huge stack of sources, from decades old psychology studies to reviews of the latest 2026 AI language apps.
Because our mission here is to give you a real shortcut to fluency, completely skipping the information overload.
Exactly. So to build that blueprint, we need to look at how the brain actually works. And the sources point straight to the linguist, Stephen Creation.
Yeah, creation is essential here. He drew this really sharp line between what he calls conscious learning, which is the awful, stressful stuff, like
Yeah.
drilling verb conjugations.
Exactly, the stuff we all hated in school. He contrasts that with subconscious acquisition, which is how we naturally just, pick up a language.
Wait, hold on though.
Hmm.
If it is all subconscious, why can't I just binge Spanish Netflix for a month and miraculously become fluent? I mean, there has to be more to it than just listening.
Well, yeah, passive listening is not enough. Krashen says you actually need comprehensible input. Basically, you need exposure to messages that are just a tiny bit above your current level.
Like the I+1 concept in the sources.
Right, I plus one. But there is a massive catch to this. Your effective filter absolutely has to be low.
The effective filter, that is basically your anxiety level, right?
Yeah, precisely. If you are stressed out or terrified of making a mistake, that filter shoots up. And your brain literally blocks the language from being absorbed.
Oh, wow. That ties right into his monitor hypothesis.
Mm.
Reading about that, it just sounded like having a hyperactive editor trapped inside your head.
That's a perfect way to
Right.
describe it.
You try to speak, and this annoying inner editor constantly interrupts to check your grammar, which just destroys any natural fluency you might have.
Which is exactly why the sources highlight the Profdil approach. It argues that adults need to learn a bit more like children, by filling the tank first.
Filling the tank with input.
Right. You just absorb the language heavily through reading and listening long before you ever force yourself to speak or write.
Okay, but if we are constantly filling the tank with all this input, how do we avoid just short circuiting our brains?
Well, that brings us right to cognitive load theory.
Oh, wait, before we jump into how our brains crash, if you're enjoying this deep dive so far, now is the perfect time to drop a quick like, leave a comment, and make sure you are subscribed. Okay, so cognitive load.
Right. So your brain only has a limited amount of working memory. Think of it like your computer's RAM. If you have too many tabs open, the whole system crashes.
Which happens to me daily.
Right. So, for example, a study in our sources showed that using a dictionary while writing in a second language actually makes your fluency worse.
Wait, really? Looking up a word makes it worse. How does that even make sense?
Because constantly bouncing between your text and the dictionary overloads your brain's RAM.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it completely disrupts schema acquisition, which is basically your brain trying to build a mental map of how words fit together. You just lose the natural flow entirely.
Okay, so if I can't use a dictionary mid-sentence, how am I supposed to actually retain the input?
You rely on spaced repetition. This fights off the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve.
Which is the natural rate our brains just dump new information, right?
Exactly. So you test your memory at specific expanding intervals, and you pair that with the shadowing technique where you repeat native audio with a very slight delay.
Is shadowing just like mindless parroting? Because to me, it sounds exactly like building muscle memory for a sport.
It is very much like muscle memory. It bypasses that annoying inner editor we talked about earlier and just forces your mouth to get used to the physical rhythm of the words.
Okay, so science says we need a low effective filter and spaced repetition. How are the newest 2026 AI tools actually coding that into their apps?
Well, looking at older audio methods, Pimsleur is great for spaced repetition, but the Michelle Thomas method often creates this negative, high pressure environment.
Which just actively triggers that anxiety filter we want to avoid.
Right. But the 2026 AI apps take things to a whole new level.
Yeah, the sources mention Emberson AI, Duolingo, and Elsa Speak. What is Emberson actually doing differently?
So, Enverson AI uses this multi-dimensional personalization engine. It doesn't just quiz you, it actually tracks your hesitation and response times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if it senses your cognitive load is maxing out, say you take 3 seconds too long to answer, it automatically simplifies the sentence structure right then and there to keep your anxiety low.
That is wild. It is honestly like picking a gym. Some
Yeah.
people just need a gamified treadmill to get moving, which is
Yeah.
basically Duolingo.
Yeah, absolutely.
And others need a strict personal trainer to correct their form, like Elsa Speak for accent reduction. But Emberson AI is like a trainer who monitors your heart rate and actually adjusts your weights mid-lift.
That is exactly it. So ultimately, the main takeaways here are pretty clear. Protect your brain's RAM, ditch the dictionary mid sentence, keep your anxiety low so you acquire rather than face it.
Use spaced repetition and shadowing to build that muscle memory.
Exactly. And just pick a tool that actually fits your specific goals.
It really is a complete blueprint for fluency. But it does leave me with one final kind of provocative thought for you to chew on.
Let's hear it.
If 2026 AI can perfectly adapt to our personal cognitive load in real time, will traditional classrooms become entirely obsolete? Or do we still fundamentally need that messy, unpredictable human connection to truly acquire a language?
That is a fascinating question to end on.
Something to think about for sure. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And hey, one last reminder, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and drop a like. We will catch you next time.